good afternoon. Those of you in Malaysia, Southeast Asia, Australia. So welcome to VROC's webinar. We've been doing these webinars quite a lot. I think most people here are getting used to doing webinars and learning, but this is one of the unusual webinars because we've actually got a very interesting guest. The Head of Innovation at PETRONAS, Fadhlan Nik Aziz, is here with us, and he heads up the team at the Innovation Gateway, Innovation Gateway at PETRONAS. Now, this webinar will be 1 hour. Questions will be private. Please feel free to type in questions. You'll see a box on the right-hand side. Type in your questions. We will answer all the questions that we can during the webinar, or we will email you shortly after if we have too many questions. Now, one of the things that we're very grateful to have is Fadhlan, because it's very unusual to get a guest from PETRONAS coming to talk publicly about how a big organization looks at innovation and how they move quickly. So we're grateful to him to come out of his busy schedule. He's a very interesting person. He's worked in Switzerland, he's worked with the Sauber team, he's worked in China. He and his team have been very instrumental to VROC in helping us work with PETRONAS. So I'd like everyone to, I'm going to pass it over to Jen to do a bit of Q&A with Fadhlan. So the format is we're going to do about 7 or 8 questions and answers with Fadhlan. After that, I'll talk a little bit about VROC's experience getting into PETRONAS with the Innovation Gateway at PETRONAS, and then Fadhlan will share how to do that, and we'll have a little bit of time left over for Q&A. So the webinar will be exactly 1 hour, so it's 2:35 now. We will last 55 minutes from now. So thank you very much for logging in from wherever you are, and we hope this afternoon will be entertaining for you. Over to you, Jen.
It's then. Apologies, everyone. I won't start from scratch. Basically, the ones that you missed is just me saying hello to everyone and saying hello to you, Fadhlan, and welcoming everyone to our webinar. Without further ado, I was going to go and start asking you the questions from the hot seat. So the first question that we have is, as the head of innovation in PETRONAS, the desire to make a positive, lasting contribution to the future of PETRONAS is basically in the core of what you do and drive the decisions that you make. Are you able to share with us your interest in innovation and digitalization and how this started for you?
Sure. Hope you can wait for my answer because it's going to be a long one. Well, thank you very much, VROC. Thank you very much, Jen. The journey of innovation started off in my first assignment back in 2002, when I was lucky enough to be appointed as one of the finite element analysis engineer stationed in Hinwil in Switzerland. I was joining the Sauber PETRONAS engineering. We were doing Formula One cars, and my particular responsibility is to do finite element analysis on engine components, the moving components. So from there, I learned firsthand how the Swiss manage the racing team, as well as managing the process of developing new products. At an early entrance into PETRONAS, I was introduced to a culture of working in making new things. That is the crux of the innovation that came to me. So we didn't talk a lot more about digitalization at that particular time. It was back in 2002. We were more on coming up with new things that we can actually put it into the racetrack and also put it into the market as well. So from there, I learned about the culture of innovation. I learned about how people innovate to overcome challenges. By that time, at the first start of my career, I have the innovation culture embedded in me. When we came back to Malaysia, all the young engineers, I was young then, when the young engineers came back to Malaysia, we developed our own NE01 engine family. That is where we unlearn what we've learned in Switzerland and put it on paper. I was then lucky enough to be assigned to People's Republic of China, to 3 major cities, Beijing, Shenyang, and Shanghai. We were there to develop the engine family, the 2.2 liter, the 2 liter turbo, and also 1.8 turbo. During that time, we put in our knowledge in paper and make new engines to be tested in the Chinese market. Then I learned more about innovating in a very tough environment. China in 2009 to 2011 is not like what it is right now. It was a challenging time for me to adapt to the new culture and bringing new innovation to a country that is used to getting innovation on another way, which is not coming from their own way. So I need to learn to change that. I need to re-educate my colleagues in China to change their thinking towards making something new. Then I was promoted again back in Malaysia to be the head of technology commercialization, where I learned to make money out of technology, where I did that for 6 years. Then they developed a new technology crowdsourcing department called Innovation. The first time that PETRONAS established a department called Innovation, and I was privileged enough to be part of that journey. So innovation has always been in my blood, starting from my first days of working. And right now I put it on paper and make it happen for PETRONAS.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. So the second question that we have is, PETRONAS is a massive company. Everyone knows that. PETRONAS is ranked among the Fortune Global 500's largest corporation in the world. And, but it's been around for 46 years, as what you were telling us yesterday. So in that, there's a lot of legacy systems, lots of legacy processes that's been embedded. So from your perspective, are you able to share with us how you have built upon your company's legacy or have had to alter strategy because of its legacy, especially elements that have stifled innovation of late?
During my days in commercializing technology, I can sense that deploying and replicating technology has always been a challenge for PETRONAS because of the way that it's being packaged to the users. I work on that, and from there on, I also see that we are lacking of a platform for us to receive new technology from outside into PETRONAS. So that's why we established IGAP, the Innovation Gateway at PETRONAS, to provide that kind of platform. In terms of legacy, I was informed by many of the other operators that PETRONAS has a different view on technology altogether, be it from the technology provider and also from our competitors out there, the oil and gas operators. They have shared with me that PETRONAS look at technology in a different way. The difference is we are willing to try new things at our assets, and we do it continuously and consistently. That was the differentiator that we bring. So the legacy of PETRONAS of trying new things has always been there. It's just that the challenge is to do it more and do it often.
Right.
That is why innovation has been established. So I'm just banking on a current legacy that is ready to try new things. Right. Then I expand from there.
Fantastic. So in that then, trying new things, doing it more, how would you view failure as it relates to innovation? So when is it part of the process and when is it unacceptable?
During our journey in deploying technology, we first started off back in 2011, taking what's on the prototype table and putting it into our offshore platform. We've been doing it religiously and consistently since then. Obviously, all the while there are some failures that we've encountered. Our motto has always been, and this is something that I really hold dear to, is to fail fast and recover quickly. We still need to create value from technology. So based on my experience, we have encountered multiple failures along the way. Majority of those, we will quickly fail fast and learn from those errors that we've made so far and improve the technology and try it again. There are some instances during my journey in technology development and commercialization, whereby we find out that for us to recover back and reinvent and redeploy the current technology that we have is just too much. It requires too much resources of manpower and also on finances. So we decided to abandon those projects. However, the learning from those projects, we will carry on to the next cycle of product development. So it is still fail fast and recover quickly. We just change to another technology.
Right. Fantastic. Nicely put. So in terms of measuring, how do you measure the output of innovation in your company? And what does the process of innovation look like in your company? And what are some of the key indicators that you have been successful?
For PETRONAS, we always look into technology as a differentiator, bringing value to the business. So the value creation that we define in PETRONAS are only three. The first one is cash generation. By deploying technology, we can generate new income streams for us. This can be from improved process, an increase in production, and also finding new markets from a new product that we develop. That is the first one, the cash generation. Second one is cost savings. When we spend, let's say, ringgit on a certain activity of cleaning pipelines using a chemical, then we find a solution that is 30% lesser and doing the same function or even better. That is direct cost savings to our operations and our maintenance work. The third one, which is most related to VROC, is cost avoidance. We spend money now on a tool or an equipment that can save us from spending more money in the future. In the case of VROC AI, when we deployed in Dulang, in offshore Kerteh, in a span of 2 years, we have recorded close to 100 million ringgit worth of cost avoidance. So that is money well spent when we can avoid future costs to our operations.
Nice. Thank you for that. So what are the typical challenges that people face when bringing their technologies into PETRONAS? And how have you and your team helped other companies overcome these adoption challenges?
The challenges are many. It's just too long for me to describe. Yeah, bringing new things to anywhere, any other organizations, it is still a challenge. Yeah. When you want to try new things where the deliverables are still unexpected and the control of it is still unknown, and even how you do that also is still vague. So many of our colleagues in PETRONAS tend to go back to their comfort zone and start to question on the benefits of the technology, obviously. It is my task to re-educate and create a new environment whereby we can go through all that without having that much difficulties. So I've done a few things in my career in order to make it easy. One of which is establishing the iGap, an innovation gateway at PETRONAS, and opening up for people to submit, for technology providers to submit new technologies and have it available in an iGap technology catalog for all of our staff to have a look at. I also make it simpler for them to adopt by enhancing the iGap to be more like similar to Agoda.com, Booking.com, Lazada, and Shopee, where you can actually purchase the technology online. These are some of the enhancements that is inside iGap currently. I also make it available for users in all parts of the world, in Turkmenistan, in Iraq, in Sudan, and in offshore Sabah and Sarawak, to give in their feedback, similar to where you were doing the same thing in staying in a hotel by using Booking.com. When you stay at a hotel, and you like it, you give a 5-star and you say, this hotel is great. If otherwise, you will put in 1 star and you say, don't come here again. So similarly, in iGap, we also have that function whereby the users can give a star rating as well as leave a lessons learned feedback section for the new users to use. For example, if a technology is suitable for 3 bar gauge pressure and 100 degrees C, so the user will put in there that this technology is suitable for that condition. If you go above 100 degrees C, the technology will behave differently and you will not achieve your objective. So for the next person who's going to take up that technology, they can learn from that experience and be mindful on the parameters that is used. So that is one of the ways that I make it simple for technology to be deployed in PETRONAS. However, I know also during this crisis here, this is a fertile ground for innovation and change. And I commend my colleagues for taking up the challenge and trying in new things, especially on the technology inside the iGap technology catalog.
Fantastic. So it's a very well-known fact that the oil and gas industry is a very traditional industry. So how do you see traditional oil and gas companies respond to innovation, and especially digitalization and AI technologies? So what do you think of the potential of some of these technologies in oil and gas?
Okay, so I've been working for PETRONAS for 17 years. I was having a conversation with my colleague who's been working about 16 years, 1 year lesser than me, last night. And we were talking about, if only this industry that we work in right now would be similar to other industries in terms of pace in accepting new technology. We are far behind compared to other industries, like the energy industries, the telecommunication, the digitalization. All the other industries are very much faster than us by not a mile, but probably 300 miles. Reason being is the way that we indoctrinate ourselves in our industry. If we were to jump into a swimming pool, the oil and gas players inside this industry will probably wait for 50 people to jump into the pool first, have a swim around before we can actually have the courage to put our feet into the water, even though it's nice and warm. It has always been like that. And when I was talking to my colleague last night, I told her that I want to make some changes. We cannot stay like this. We got to be ahead of the other industries as well. So yes, the thinking of the players in this industry is traditional and very much conservative. It's people like myself and also companies like VROC is going to help each other to bring this industry to another level, make ourselves more courageous in trying new things.
I love that analogy. I love that analogy, Fadhlan. I hope you haven't trademarked that, because I'd like to use that in the future. So have you, with the iGap, it's such a fantastic initiative. You've had such an overwhelming positive response to that as well. So are you able to share with us what this is and how it is assisting PETRONAS?
Okay. Back in July 2017, we want to embark ourselves in the world of online technology crowdsourcing. Before that, I didn't even know what this crowdsourcing means. Right now, I think I'm living and breathing that concept. During that time, we wanted to launch a topic that we can get new solutions, a pain point that we've been struggling for the past 10 years. And we would like to find out from the industry players to give us an opportunity to try out new technology to address our own pain point. So we launched the first technology challenge on monetization of associated gas and offshore flare. We got overwhelming response. We got roughly about 30 responses, and we found out the first winner. Then we knew, hey, this is something we can do actually. So we've benchmarked ourselves against other players that have done it for quite a while, like Shell Game Changer, like Equinor Innovate. They've been doing this for a while. But we did some customization because we feel that we need to open up the opportunity to everyone in the world to participate in the PETRONAS Technology Challenge. So unlike the other platforms, they're only specific to the country that they operate in. For example, if the operator is in Spain, they will open to Spanish technology companies only, similar to Norway and also similar to the Netherlands. So PETRONAS want to look at it in a different point of view. We open up to all the countries all across the globe. That's why a company from Australia also can participate in technology marketplace. So IGAP, when we first started IGAP, the most number of submissions at that particular time in my head was 180. I feel at that time there are only 180 companies at most that will be interested to participate and submit their technology in both our technology challenge and also in our technology marketplace. Fast forward to the 12th of August 2020, we are now at 773 submissions, and out of that 773, 222 have been approved and included into our IGAP technology catalog. I would say for this year alone, our technology value creation can reach close to 90 million ringgit just from value creation from all the technology that's been deployed from the IGAP technology catalog by the end of the year. So we've gone so far. I did not expect this to boom as much back in 2017, and I see that it's actually exceeding the expectation that I had before.
Wow, that's amazing. They're very, very impressive metrics, I have to say. And it's I guess it comes down to the power of crowdsourcing, as you said, and really embracing and opening it up to a wider market, isn't it? That's fantastic. Okay, last question from me. So this is quite futuristic. So fast forward to 2030. Someone did tell me that 2030 is not really fast forward, given that it's already 2020, but let's just stick with that for now. Fast forward 2030, what will the oil and gas industry look like in terms of innovation?
I've always had this vision for the past 2 years. I'm going to explain to you my vision of how I can see. Not necessarily 2030, it can be 2023, 2024. But my vision is an engineer who is located in a remote site in PETRONAS will have his or her cell phone with her, and he or she will press a button, and there will be this Iron Man vision going across him or her, and he will call this what do you call that? Something like Jarvis, the AI. Yeah, you call Jarvis. Say, "Morning, Jarvis. I want to know of all my turbine compressors today. Out of that 73 turbine compressors, how many are up and how many are down?" And Jarvis will say, "Out of the 73, 70 are up and running. This is new. There are only 3 that are down." Okay, Jarvis, send 3 robots to these 3 different locations, find out what's wrong, fix it, and come back to me at the end of the day. And Jarvis will say, "Okay, boss." Then we'll just turn off the telephone and have his coffee and do any strategic work where computer cannot do, coming up with new things and developing new products and also addressing the pain points through adaptation of technology. At the end of the day, close to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, he will flick on the phone again and it will come up with this Iron Man vision again. It will say, "Okay, Jarvis, good afternoon. So how are we doing on the 3 turbine compressors?" And Jarvis will say, "We managed to fix 2 out of 3. There's 1 more that we are unable to fix today. We're going to get back to you by tomorrow morning." And say, "Okay, Jarvis, have a great day." And Jarvis will say, "You too, sir." That's how I imagine the oil and gas industry will look like.
That's fantastic. What I would like to see in addition to that is after 5 p.m., Jarvis would then come home and then we can say, "All right, Jarvis, what are we going to have for dinner?" I'd put my money on that. Most definitely. All right, Jarvis, time to put the kids to bed. Fantastic. Look, it's it. Fadhlan, it's been such a wonderful time, having a chat with you. I feel like I can chat with you forever, but I'm conscious that we do have a limited amount of time together, and I'll need to pass it on to Waris. But from on behalf of the team, we thank you so much for sharing your wonderful and very candid insights with us. As I said, I really, truly enjoyed our chat, and hopefully I get to see you in person in the near future. So I'm just going to say bye for now, and I'm going to hand it over to Waris.
Thank you very much for that, Jen. And Fadhlan, it was great having you as always. Very insightful. It's great to see the international exposure that you've got and the exposure to new technology and the frankness of which you speak about the oil and gas industry. Now, I like your quote about jumping in the swimming pool. If 50 people do that, and I think I'm going to spend about the next 4 or 5 minutes talking about our own experience. We've worked with you and your team at Innovation Gateway at PETRONAS. And it's been a very good experience because for us as a small company navigating into an MNC, to go into the environment of the MNC, understand which department to talk to, has been very challenging. And your team has been very useful to guide us on who to see, what to do, and to go through the processes. Some of the things that we've gained out of the experience with your team is not only being able to market it, but you're also helping get us FaceTime with the key decision makers within PETRONAS. You're finding us users within PETRONAS. And one of the things that we found interesting is that we've also gone through a rigorous assessment by your Technical Readiness Committee. And we're grateful to note that VROC has been awarded TRL 7, which is Technical Readiness Level 7, which, as we understand it, for the moment, that's the highest readiness level assessment in PETRONAS, although I think NASA has another TRL 8, which doesn't apply in this case. But it means that we're basically tried, tested, and good to go. So it's been very useful to know where to go within PETRONAS, what regulatory requirements we have to fulfill, what are the things we need to do, how to work, because the VROC software is not just a software. You work with the IT guy, you work with the users. So you guys have been very useful to help us through, and you've made this journey a lot easier. And your team is extremely responsive. And not only that, you've also helped us understand a lot of the TLA or 3-letter abbreviations in PETRONAS there. So I think it's been a great experience. I won't talk too much longer. I'm at 3:02 now. So what I'm going to do now, just to remind us, we've already had our Q&A. Jen's done some Q&A by VROC with Fadhlan. I've done my little talk on how it was to work with Fadhlan and his team, Hasif, Maliana, Masliza, and the innovation team. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to one of the questions that we always get is, how do you get into PETRONAS? So the 2 slides that I'm going to upload, which I'm going to pass on to Fadhlan, and then I'm going to mute it. After that, we're going to open up the floor to questions and answers, and then we will take a few. We have the rest of the time for Q&A. I think we'll probably have at least about 20 minutes for Q&A. So I'm going to log on and put the first few slides up. Fadhlan, please let me know when you want me to put the second slide. I will mute my mic for the moment.
Right. So it's good that somebody was asking about IGAP, or Innovation Gateway at PETRONAS. This is a platform that promotes transparency and promotes our own open innovation. It is a platform where technology providers can engage with PETRONAS, and similarly, PETRONAS can also share the pain points to the technology providers. So we have 2 segments in Innovation Gateway at PETRONAS IGAP. We have the first one, which is the Technology Challenge, the top part here. Technology Challenge is a competition whereby we will shoot the business pain point in the form of a competition challenge to the industry across the globe. We make it available for everybody to participate and to ask questions along the challenge duration. The Tech Challenge winner will then have an opportunity to first deploy the technology in our assets in Malaysia or in overseas. We also give a chance for the technology challenge winner to jointly develop and enhance the technology to make it better, faster, cheaper, and more attractive to the market. We also give a chance for the technology challenge winner to replicate that technology across multiple assets and business in PETRONAS upstream, downstream, and gas and new energy. Another portion of the iGap is the technology marketplace. The technology marketplace is another section of getting new technology in PETRONAS. We have established the iGap technology catalog, in which this is a collection, a repertoire of all the technology being submitted to PETRONAS. If you have a new product and you feel that this product can bring benefits to PETRONAS in terms of the three sections that I was talking to you about, the cash generation, cost savings, and cost avoidance, please share it to our iGap platform, get it reviewed, approved, and park it under our iGap technology catalog. So this is the best platform, the most transparent platform for us to promote the open innovation. We created this to facilitate collaboration between the industry players, the technology providers, and PETRONAS, with the aim to accelerate the pace in the deployment of technology as well as the replication across the business. Let's move on to the next page, Juarez. Now, how do you actually register the technology into iGap technology catalog, into our technology marketplace? First thing you do is to log in at innovation.petronas.com. Register your company there. It will ask all different details of your company inside there, with the intention for us to contact you if we feel that this technology will bring value to PETRONAS, and if there is an interest for us to deploy and replicate the technology across our business. You can now then submit your technology online through the same platform. Be descriptive on the technology as much as you can, so that the reader can actually understand the technology immediately after reading your submission. Submission can include all other supporting documents, can include a video of several photographs, a brochure, a PowerPoint slide, or any PDF documents. If you have any technical journals that you want to upload that can help us understand the technology, put it into our technology marketplace. Upon submission, the Group Technical Authority in PETRONAS will get a notification saying that there is a new submission for us to deliberate, review, and provide input to the technology provider. We have appointed 31 Group Technical Authorities in PETRONAS. Each of the GTA will have been assigned a skill group for them to be responsible for. For example, there is one engineer, one custodian engineer who is appointed as the GTA for the areas of instrumentation. There is also one for geology. There is also one for process engineering, and also another one for reservoir engineering. In total, we have 31. So once you've submitted, this person will have a look at it, get more information through the send your technology provider a message. You'll get a prompt on your email saying that the Group Technical Authority asked you a question. You will then log on again to innovation.petronas.com, address that question, and submit back to him or her. He or she then we will review again, and probably there are more questions related to the technology. For example, is this technology suitable for offshore? Can I use it? Can it be mobile? Do I need to have a battery pack with this technology? How much water do you need to make this work? How long is the line to support the deployment from one point to another? How can you replicate to similar size platforms offshore? Can we do it in a crude oil tank? Those are the common questions that the Group Technical Authority will ask, and the responses will be recorded on this platform. This is so the next user who is interested to use this technology will get to go through all the conversation online and refer to that whenever they have any questions to put in this particular technology at their location. So after the conversation is being held, this can be at most 30 days of evaluation. Then we will decide whether we will reject the technology and provide the justification to the technology provider, or approve the technology and pack it into our iGap technology catalog. Once it's in our iGap technology catalog, the business from across the globe that where we are operating will be getting that solution and deploy it at their location. So VROC went through the whole process. They registered back in 2018, have a conversation with the Group Technical Authority, get the assessment done, put it into the iGap technology catalog, deployed first in Dulang and replicated in Duyong. So as you can see, VROC is a testament of how the technology goes through the whole process and create value to PETRONAS. As I mentioned before, VROC has created close to 100 million ringgit of cost avoidance through value creation to PETRONAS from the deployment of this technology in our offshore platform, Dulang and Duyong. That is it, Wallace. That is as simple as I can explain.
Very much, Fadhlan, for doing that. It's a great job in explaining it. It was a great process there. Now, now it's time to give you the questions. So first question, Fadhlan, what's the best new emerging tech that you've seen this year?
You mean other than VROC?
Yeah, well, whichever one you've seen. I mean, VROC, if you want to call it VROC, that's fine. I'm okay with it. You can plug us. You can give us a plug. But, yeah.
The technology that I'm mostly impressed on is on reducing our dependency for people to work at height. You know, this is a dangerous industry when we deal with flammable products, you can see, and we work at really high locations to repair and inspect. The technology that I feel will be the one that's going to change the game if we start using robots and drones to do the work that man is currently doing. So it's not just one, it's multiple of all this technology that I feel will be the one that is changing the game. For example, you know, when we do our crude oil tank cleaning, we need to send 20 people into the tank, a 72-meter diameter tank, right after we have dislodged it to do the manual cleaning. I'm talking about, you know, shovels and all that, shovels and water and brushes just to clean the tank. There should be a time where we can actually have robots to do the work that manual labor is actually doing. When we go to inspect a structure that is 25-meter high, we actually build scaffold or we hang a person through an abseiling. Both are fairly dangerous work. I would prefer, this is something that I've seen already this year, it's part of our Technology Challenge 6, that when we do ultra thickness inspection, we use a drone to fly up 25-meter high from the ground to do the inspection and give us these data online. So I am looking forward for all this technology that can save man from doing work at dangerous places.
Okay, oh, that's a great thing. I think we want to reduce safety and make more people go back home to their families. One of the other questions that I got here is, oh yeah, hang on, this is one of them, which is, what technology do you feel still has a lot of development, but you see great potential in?
Technology that requires a lot of development. There's so many. I tell you, there's so many. um, the development is actually on application. Actually, it's not so much on the product itself. There are many technology products across the globe in the market. The application seems to be of an issue. So the areas that I think would be a big thing is on decommissioning.
Okay.
Decommissioning and plug and abandonment is an issue, a sore thumb for Petronas. It is something that we need to do to save the environment. At the same time, it is still at a high cost. So there should be more development in that area of decommissioning and plug and abandonment to make it affordable for companies such as Petronas to conduct decommissioning and plug and abandonment in a big scale. The only thing that's stopping us is actually the price of doing such work. We can bring it down and make it affordable, then it should be something that we can consider to do it in a campaign basis. So the only way we can achieve that is through innovation. So I hope that all of you that's listening out here take up this mantle and try to develop ways on figuring out how do we reduce costs in doing P&A and decommissioning.
Oh, that's a great thing for all those companies looking at decommissioning. That's a great area to look into. I've also got another question. I've got another question. Hi, Fadhlan. Could you highlight when it will be when's the time frame for Petronas to fully digitalize all their facilities? Wow.
Wow. Well, we are now doing remote operations in offshore Kerteh in VROC. We are targeting another 5 next year. When you say fully digitalize everything, I don't think we can do that because some of our offshore platform has been around since 1962. So those platforms are not really that economical for us to continuously produce until now. We're looking at something that's been producing for 60 years already. I don't think it can last that long. So we will not fully digitalize everything. We will digitalize the one that is economically viable for us to digitalize. I don't know if it makes sense to you. I mean, the digital journey will require some cost for us to transform our mostly pneumatic and manual offshore platform and onshore facilities into fully digital. Only the ones that will actually create value to us, then we will turn into digital. In terms of time frame, I'm sure if you ask many parties, they will have their own time frame. In my opinion, we need to do that quickly, especially during a crisis time like this.
Okay, that's a great answer, Fadhlan. And that leads us on to yet another question. Now, as we all know, there's an elephant in the room that COVID-19, the new normal, has happened to everyone, which is why we're all in different rooms, and even traveling outside Malaysia is not likely to happen that much. So one of the questions is, how does the new normal push Petronas forward in terms of technology?
Okay, so as what was quoted by our president, a crisis such as this is a fertile ground for innovation and change. For us, we saw a lot of simplification being done abruptly, not by design, but abruptly. We didn't change any of the procedures, the process, and the manual guidelines. All of them are still intact. It's the same one as it was before in COVID-19. However, we noticed that many of our process was simplified abruptly and automatically during this crisis. We also noticed there is a spike of submissions in iGap as well, showing that people are more familiar with digital submissions, with online submissions, and they're more keen to engage with us in an online meeting. I can't say to you what will affect the company. Obviously, the company is actually struggling to go through this crisis. I can only share with you how it affects innovation and technology. I can see that there is an accelerated pace of accepting new technology, especially on the ones that related to the crisis or can overcome a challenge that is because of the crisis. I'll give you an example. In PETRONAS, we have developed our own hand sanitizers. Normally, it will probably take, I don't know, maybe close to 2 years, but we managed to come up with a solution, our own hand sanitizers, in a week's time. We make 2,000 bottles in a week and distribute across all of our own frontliners. So our frontliners don't have to go to Guardian or Watson to buy a small Dettol hand sanitizer. We have produced our own and we make it available for them. We also designed the continuous pressure air equipment together with Mercedes-AMG PETRONAS. It is a breathing apparatus for patients of COVID-19 that requires breathing equipment. We make it available in a span of 24 hours. Design it, develop it, make the prototype and have it ready in 24 hours and make it available for the hospitals across Malaysia. Now, Alhamdulillah, we don't need to use a lot of those CPAP machines because we are fairly recovering quite well here. I think past few days, we only had 2 patients across Malaysia that requires a breathing apparatus. We were just getting things ready. We also have developed quickly the artificial intelligence security camera, whereby we have our cameras detecting people who do not wear masks, people who do not wear gloves or helmets during their work time in our work site. So we did that in record time. In 2 months, we come up with the whole solution already, ready to be deployed. We also came up with SPOT, Secure Personnel Online Tracking. So every time a staff like me goes into a work site, either in the Twin Towers or our crude oil terminal in Miri, we will turn our SPOT and they will detect us on our whereabouts throughout that day. So if I were to be a person under investigation, a POI, then they can contact trace my whereabouts during my time at the workplace. So let's say if I had a meeting with you, Juarez, and then I turn on SPOT. So if, let's say tomorrow I found out I'm a POI, then somebody will call you and say, hey, based on SPOT, Fadhlan met with you and had a chat for about an hour. So now you are also another POI, same as me. So those are the 4 examples I can give you where PETRONAS took up the challenge, see that crisis is actually a fertile ground for innovation and change, and deliver the technology solutions.
Oh, that's great. Fadhlan, I'm sorry you're under the grill now. There's one more question that we have. We might have a little bit more time for 2 more after this. So I've got quite a lot, but this is a good question. Does the Vendor Development Program, the VDP, is that under the supervision of the PETRONAS Innovation Gateway PETRONAS team?
The Vendor Development Program is a program to accelerate the pace of growing a company in terms of service that we provide to PETRONAS. It is a like a super highway for vendors to go through to grow the companies. It has been around since 1993, so it's not something new. It's been around, so 1993, what is that? Is that 27 years? 27 years been around, eh? So what we have right now is a VDP, Vendor Development Program for Innovation and Technology, which has been launched in November 2018, so roughly close to 2 years now. So this one is actually focused on technology and innovation from companies that has these solutions. So unlike the previous traditional VDP, this VDP InnoTech is just specially made for companies that has used new technology to be their bread and butter for deployment and replication and looking for business in PETRONAS. This VDP program is not under IGAP. However, we are working closely with the group procurement who are in charge of this. So if you are interested to be a VDP Innovation and Technology candidate, your best bet is to register into IGAP, get the technology approved, from that technology catalog, we will feed through to group procurement for their selection. So the group procurement people, they actually refer to the IGP technology catalog for their candidates, amongst others from other Malaysian government agency. So in my opinion, if you're interested in that, go and submit your technology in IGAP.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Fadhlan. I think got enough time for another question. This one is based on your experience. Do you think inefficient control room monitoring is an issue in oil and gas operations? Are there many problems that arise due to inefficient control room monitoring?
Okay, unfortunately, of my 17 years in working in PETRONAS, I've never stepped foot into a control room. I wouldn't know how to answer an inefficient control room situation.
Okay, no worries. I have another question over here. What are the challenges PETRONAS has faced as an MNC while implementing new innovation in digitization?
The challenge has been convincing people who are used to one way into changing into another. You see, when you talk about deploying new technology and bringing new innovation, the results may vary. That is clear. Not everything will come out rosy at the end. The challenges are also various. There are many new things that you need to change in order to adapt to the new technology. And last but not least, the expectation is the key element. Most users expect to change the world by deploying one technology. So managing expectation has to be correct as well. So amongst these three elements, I would say the expectation of the users are the most challenging bit for us to overcome.
Okay, and I think we've got just enough time for about 4 minutes left. There's one more question. How will VROC and PETRONAS continue the relationship moving forward?
Okay, well, obviously we are looking for solutions that can do predictive maintenance like VROC. So the way I look at it, we are still continuously searching for multiple new technology that can address our pain point of predicting maintenance for our offshore platform and inside our onshore facilities. So as of now, VROC is inside IGAP technology catalog. We will continuously work with VROC in implementing the technology across PETRONAS. Nonetheless, our eyes are always open for new submissions in order for us to find other new solutions in the same breath as speaking is VROC. You see, in this digital and AI world, things are moving very fast. And PETRONAS understands that. That's why we keep our options open through the IGAP technology catalog. For now, I think VROC has done a great job with PETRONAS, and we'll continuously work with VROC in trying out new solutions that is coming out from the company.
All right. Well, Fadhlan, there's one last question I think we have enough time for, because we're still at 57 and a half minutes.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that statement. We look forward to working with PETRONAS as much as possible too. What is a wow factor in being noticed in the gateway? How do you make your company's submission in Innovation Gateway to be noticed by PETRONAS? I think this will probably be our last question.
Okay. We've been embarking on this, the PETRONAS Innovation webinar series. We have been conducting since the first week of July. Up until now, we are at number 4, which is coming up tomorrow. That is an avenue whereby we will take up the participants from our IGAP technology catalog and make them as features, as guest speakers for our PETRONAS Innovation webinar series. So as of now, we've done 6 companies so far. We'll do another 2 tomorrow. We will continuously do that until the end of the year for us to explain to people about IGAP. How can this help PETRONAS How can this bring value to PETRONAS? At the same time, I've also done multiple engagements outside of PETRONAS to bring in new technology to the market, to PETRONAS itself. So it can be engagements such as this one. It can be a webinar. It can be a one-to-one conversation. It can be multiple ways for us to do this. But the way I look at it, even though both of us, Juarez, are not millennials, I think the millennials more understand the social media viral video method. I have not touched that section yet because I still feel that I'm a little bit old to be doing that. Nonetheless, I think that will be something we need to consider in rebranding iGap to be more social media frenzy and be viral in coming up with a video so that the message is sent across to every corners of the world.
No, I thank you very much, Fadhlan. I think I agree. One of the things we found out is a lot of the engineers are below 40. So unfortunately, I would be classified as an older
Yeah,
person.
we're not in that
We're definitely
category.
not millennials. We're not in that category. No matter how much makeup or lighting we put, but yeah, no, I think it's a real point. We need to be able to engage with the younger generation who at some stage will be taking over. And the good news is the younger generation are very open to the digitalization and AI moving forward. So on that note, I think, Fadhlan, thank you very much for spending your time with us during this webinar. I know you're very busy. You've got to run off for another webinar after this. It's been great being on the webinar circuit with you in the Oil and Gas Asia. Jen, thank you very much. And then for all these people who attended, well, I think 45 at the moment, because I think a few of them might have had to run off. Thank you very much for taking your time to attend this webinar. We hope they're useful. Well, what we will do is we weren't able to answer all the questions, but one last bit of feedback. Thanks, Fadhlan, for the very informative presentation. And we have about 70% of the people say that this event was very informative so far when we did a poll. So thanks again, Fadhlan, for putting a word out on the Innovation Gateway PETRONAS. It's great to see our national oil company do this. We hope it's been useful to all of you. Please stay safe during these trying times, and we will compile all the questions that have been unanswered, and we'll pass them on to Fadhlan and his team to answer them later. Take care, guys. Thank you again, Fadhlan. Thanks, Jen. Stay safe, everyone. Signing out.